you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Allman, you spoke in your testimony that when you first joined Rakuten that you withdrew your company from a deal with a Chinese equipment vendor. Can you expand a little bit on that for me?
So the business model for Rakuten prior to me coming in was really looking at an opportunity to lower the cost burden, as I think others spoke in this forum. And one of the suppliers was, of course, a Chinese equipment supplier. And when we looked at the cost and economics of the network platform that we had built in Japan with new Open RAN platform architecture, completely embracing cloud native platforms, not only for radio, for core, we really proved that we could get our costs and economics to be even lower than what is being offered by Chinese equipment suppliers. And to that extent, we taken decisions decisively that we wanted to secure this network as number one criticality.
So you're saying you didn't feel secure with using their equipment?
No, I mean, we felt that we did not have complete access to all the interfaces in any of the network components, and we needed to secure this for us to protect our consumers in Japan and make sure that there is no security vulnerability in the platform architecture.
So we know companies understand this. So why are they continuing being attracted to Huawei or ZTE?
I mean, I think that it's not just price. I mean, let me give you my view. Look, I think in the last decade, I have no doubt that also Huawei and ZTE has really evolved and advanced their technology. So I think if you looked at them in the past, maybe the story would be different. Cost has become the entry point. Low cost was an entry point. But most global operators today cannot have a clear visibility to what is really the alternative. And this is, frankly speaking, what we've been trying to champion now is an option and alternative to what exists as traditional vendors in the marketplace. So I think, simple answer is they now need to learn and understand that the world has alternative. And I think discussions such as today is really critical, not just also for US, but also global marketplace.
So you don't think it solely has to do with price?
I mean, I think price, of course, comes in, but there is no credible alternative that they could go to today that they could say, I could meet the same price factor as Huawei and ZTE would give them.
Right. Mr. Baker, how can we ensure that trusted vendors can become competitive with Huawei and ZTE overseas?
Good question, Congressman. I think certainly funding the Telecommunications Act and getting funding out there, but doing research and bringing radio technology back to the US is strategically important. When you compare Huawei technology with Nokia Ericsson, for instance, Huawei's radio technology is actually better performing in terms of power efficiency. And you look at all the issues that we have with the size of the power grid for the United States. If we just address the efficiency of power amplifiers that are used on towers today, then we would see significant savings in energy on the power grid. So, research in fundamental radio technology will help us along.
John, excuse me for using your first name, but I am not going to try to pronounce your last name here. Do you want to elaborate any more on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I support John's points. And I think that when it comes down to it, a lot of conversation has been centered around standards and how do we compete and what's going to take to influence standards. And it's important to appreciate that standards are a byproduct of research and development. Once you understand how deeply a technology works, then you can of course, influence standards. It also is impacted by real-life application. You learn things as you're involved in the field of play. So I think that all relates directly to this Telecom Act that we've been talking about. It's going to take time, so urgency is the name of the game.
Right.
But that's my view. It's mesolingua, by the way.
Thank you. Well, you can tell me and I still would have a hard time pronouncing it. It's not something we get used to saying all the time in Oklahoma, but I appreciate it. Anyways, guys, hey, I appreciate everybody on the panel. I definitely appreciate your expertise in this. And we're, in Congress, we're trying to wrap our head around it and taking the time to educate us means the world. And Chairman, I appreciate you holding this. This is a true bipartisan hearing that we don't always get to have in Congress. So with that, I yield back right on time.